Beneath Melbourne streets lies one of the city's most important engineering achievements, an underground structure that changed the city's health, hygiene, and growth forever. This is the main outfall sewer. Built over a century ago, it was the backbone of Melbourne's original sewage system. Though it no longer carries sewage itself today, its scale, design, and legacy remain unmatched in the city's infrastructure history. Let's rewind to the late 1800s. Following the formation of the Melbourne and Metropolitan Board of Works in 1891, engineers were tasked with a mammoth challenge: build a sewage system for a city that was already fully occupied, with roads, buildings, and homes in place. The solution was bold: construct a massive underground gravity-fed main sewer that would collect wastewater from across metropolitan Melbourne and transport it to a distant treatment site, well away from homes, businesses, and drinking water supplies. This plan led to the construction of the main outfall sewer, stretching over 27 kilometres from Spotswood all the way to Werribee, southwest of the city. This wasn't just a pipeline, it was a monumental feat of civil engineering. Surveying had to be exact. The sewer relied entirely on gravity flow, meaning that the slope had to be calculated with absolute precision. Too steep, and the flow would scour the pipes. Too shallow, and solids would settle, creating blockages. The margin for error? Millimetres per 100 metres. Construction began in the early 1890s with a combination of materials such as brick and hand-poured concrete. Workers excavated the trench and underground pipelines largely by hand, using picks, shovels, and also early tunnel shields, like this one used beside the Spotswood pumping station. Progress was slow, conditions were harsh, and the work was dangerous. The sewer's cross-section varied depending on location. In many areas, it was a large ovoid, i.e. an egg shape, brick tunnel, ideal for maintaining flow across both high and low flow volumes. At the head of the new sewer network near Spotswood, engineers faced a unique challenge. Many of Melbourne's low-lying suburbs couldn't drain into the new main outfall sewer to Werribee using gravity alone. To overcome this, they constructed the Spotswood pumping station, one of the most iconic pieces of infrastructure in Melbourne's history. Built between 1894 and 1897, the Spotswood pumping station was a powerhouse of late Victorian industrial design. The facility consisted of two large engine houses, boiler houses, and coal bunkers, set around a central forecourt, with auxiliary workshops and chimneys flanking the main site. The architecture combined functionality with grandeur, featuring red brickwork, arched windows, and intricate iron and timber framing. Inside these engine houses stood enormous machines, massive steam-powered engines, cast in England and shipped to Melbourne for local assembly. Each engine stood nearly 2 stories tall and was connected to a vertical plunger pump below ground. When operating, these engines lifted raw sewage from low-level sewers and fed it into the main outfall sewer, allowing gravity to take over for the rest of the journey to Werribee. The engines were powered by high-pressure steam generated in the adjoining boiler houses. Coal was fed by hand into the furnaces, an exhausting, round-the-clock job performed by firemen who laboured in high heat and soot. Overhead gantries and pulley systems moved heavy parts across the site, enabling regular maintenance of this massive mechanical system. The scale, layout, and elegance of Spotswood made it more than just a functional asset. It was a symbol of industrial progress and civic ambition. For decades, the Spotswood pumping station operated around the clock, forming the crucial interface between Melbourne's inner urban areas and the newly built sewage farm at Werribee. The main outfall sewer officially opened in 1897 and transformed the city almost overnight. For the first time, sewage was systematically removed from homes and businesses and sent far from the city's centre, being treated before being discharged. It was a turning point for public health and a defining moment in Melbourne's urban development. An amusing tidbit in all of this is the very first building to be connected to the new sewage system was the All England 11 Hotel in Port Melbourne. That's right, Melbourne's very first and important connection to the network was the pub. As Melbourne expanded, the sewer network grew, branching into suburbs and connecting thousands of properties. Additional trunk sewers were built in later decades, gradually taking over from the original outfall. By the late 20th century, the main outfall sewer itself was replaced by newer, larger pipelines, such as the Western Trunk Sewer, which now handles the flow entering the Western Treatment Plant. Today, the main outfall sewer itself no longer carries wastewater. It was officially decommissioned in 1993, after nearly a century of service. But it remains one of the most significant civil engineering structures in Victoria's history. Much of the brickwork is still intact, and the route of the old sewer continues to play a role in community and landscape planning. Sections of the former sewer alignment are now accessible via the Federation Trail, a shared use pathway that runs alongside the heritage-listed infrastructure. Initiatives like Greening the Pipeline project are also transforming parts of the former sewer reserve into vibrant community spaces. The sewer pumping station itself has also found a second life. Decommissioned in the 1960s, being replaced by the Brooklyn pumping station, Spotswood is now preserved as part of the Science Works Museum. Visitors can walk through the preserved engine halls, see the original machinery, and learn how this once hidden marvel kept a growing city safe and clean. It can also be hired for private events, like weddings. While the main outfall sewer no longer performs its original function, its influence is still felt. Its design principles, gravity flow wherever possible, remote treatment, and careful citywide planning continue to shape how Melbourne manages its wastewater today. Modern maintenance of the city's active brick sewers now involves robotic cameras, laser profiling, and trenchless repair. Engineers work within tight spaces to inspect and rehabilitate century-old structures while keeping the system operational. Today's planners use data-driven analytics to monitor flows, track stormwater infiltration, and schedule proactive maintenance. And the sewerage itself is no longer seen as mere waste. Across the globe, cities like Melbourne are rethinking how they manage wastewater as a resource, not a liability. Through nutrient recovery and advanced treatment technologies, water from our sewer systems is being reused for irrigation, cooling, and consideration is even being given to supplementing drinking water supplies in times of drought. That journey begins in the sewer, and for Melbourne, that journey began with the main outfall sewer, Spotswood, and the trunk mains beneath the city. It reminds us that good infrastructure isn't just about scale. It's about durability, adaptability, and vision. What Melbourne's early engineers built was more than a pipe. It was the foundation of a healthier, safer, and more livable city. In our next episode, we'll head to the end of the line, the Western Treatment Plant at Werribee. Once a vast sewage farm, today it's a world leader in treatment, ecology, and resource recovery. I'm Paul Michael Angus. Thanks for watching.